the class in code first, that you are trying to run the program, right? And we tried to use annotations, and it was not working, right? So that's when we actually got stuck yesterday. But anyways, we have seen annotations how it works now. But okay, let me just give you what exactly was the problem, right? So for this project, right, when I went to the limited packages, so this was not installed. I mean, this entity framework was not installed, right? So that is the reason why it was actually not working, right? Because it needs the reference. Anyways, we actually gave a reference of entity framework here, but it was not working, right? The first step is it was not installed, and the second main thing is, even if you have this installed and it is not working, right, then you can actually reinstall your Nugget package, right? I just installed the entity framework into my right, in the project, and then I try to use the so, and after that, when I tried to use this, and it was working fine. So let me show you that. So the only step which I did of all the classes, just install my entity framework through Nugget package into this application. That's it. Now everything is same. So in my library, you can see I am using this component model, right? I have imported this. Same thing we again imported in our references from our assemblies, right? Which is system.componentModel.data annotations and schema. Now let's go ahead and see how it's going to work. So we already have this library, database being created. Here you can see we have a database and library. It's already been created over here, where we had tables, which is in books. Let me just take up the data. Right, and we also had a library, right? So we have a library with the ID, and we have a books with ID, but you can see the library ID was blank because we were not connecting them, right? As is a code first, right? You have to make sure that you are populating the library ID to actually make the reference key reference to your table, right? Now let's do one thing here. So that's the reason why we created something called library ID yesterday, right? And this library ID was the one which actually got created. Now what we are going to do here is, so in our data annotation part, right? Now if you start renaming your columns using data annotations, as I said yesterday, you can actually rename your database. So you can see now you're getting table option, right? So here, whatever table name you mention, right, it will be created. So as of now, we can see the table name is libraries, right, which is created, right? It is same as your data set you had, libraries, right? And you can see books, it is same as your books here. It will actually make it capitals. Right, you can actually change your table name, but let's keep the same name. Now, if you want to change any of your column name, right, you can actually change. Let's say here you have a name of column. Let's say you have an annotation called column. Let's say you want to make it capital N and name. Then do that. Right, so this is how we are going to use annotations column name now. Right, and if there is a foreign key, let's go to books here, right? Now, so library ID is there, right? Which is, this variable, I want this column to be a foreign key, right? And here, you have to assign your foreign key with your object of your library. So you can see, I have an option of foreign key, right? Annotation, So here I can mention my foreign key. Now in foreign key, you have to give which variable you want to make as a foreign key. let's make it library ID as a file. So this is my annotation which I am using as a foreign key, and here I am just changing one column, just to show you how it actually works. Right, so that is a change I'm going to do. And in program.cs, you can see I'm actually using my library object, and then when I'm using my books, right, now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to assign my books dot library ID, right, with the I here. Right, when I say whenever I'm creating it, right, I know that I'm going to create IDs from 1 to so on, and I'm assigning it here. So basically what happens here is whenever I'm actually adding, as we already have data, right, from till 25 we have, till 6 we have values, right, so it will be creating libraries from 7 and on. But what I'm doing, I'm taking I from 1 to 5, right, which means my reference foreign key will be assigned from 1 to 5, which means it will actually create data for 1 to 5. That's right, it is creating for something. Let's run this and see how it's going to work. Right? I'm just running. So I'm just running with a brand new schema itself. Right? Everything is new. Whatever we have done previously, we have to do table, books, and everything. We change the column, we change the column key, right? We change the key where we are mapping and all. Right? So now what it will do, it will drop the database. It should create, right, with the new schema, whatever we have, because we have actually provided to change, right, and all. Okay, you can see it says cannot drop library because it is in use, and we are actually using that, right. One connection is active. So let me close this. Let me close this and close this too. So now it is going to drop the database, which means whatever data we have previously will be dropped completely, right? And it will create again the same data, right? But if your schemas and everything were same, right, and if you start adding this, then your ID will be from 1 to 5, and your libraries will be added from the last step that cannot. Okay. Let me just close this single service. So you can see operation successful, right? Which means the new schema, everything will have added with all the data. Now let's go to the database once. Okay, so here you can see library created, and into tables, books, and let me just select this top. Right, you can see this, we just got created 626, which is right now. Let's go to the table. Now you can see that all your reference, right, library, you can see even the column name got changed. So previously it was library underscore, right? So it was creating, foreign key was being created by the system for us, right? But now we are creating our own foreign key, and we are making sure that whatever data we are adding is being connected with the library and the books. Right? Same way it will be created for all. We have 5 libraries, right? And for each library, let's say we have 5 books. Now you can see there are 25 books of different types right in each library. Right? So this is how we can actually use the annotations, and this is the complete way how we can actually do the code for approach of entity framework. So this is about the entity framework we have, right? And we have seen all ways to work with entity framework. I hope we have one thing left. Let me go to this entity framework sample here. Okay, so we have seen all the DMLs, right? Okay, upgrade DMLs, everything we have seen. Okay, that's fine. But let's see one thing. Have we seen the SD part? Okay, not about. So let me show you the stored procedure work. So calling stored procedure is straightforward, right? And let's see how it actually gets created. Now let's go to the columns database which we have already created. Let me close all. So you have tables over here, right? And you have programmability, store this piece, right? So let's say you have this get student BTSSP, right? Now this store procedure. So we have created a college DB model for this, right? If you go to app.config, now you can see you have a college DB context. We are using initial catalog, which is a database part as a college. Fine. Now let's go to the context class, DB context class. Now here you can see. So we have seen till here, right, which is our database schemas will be mapped as a DB sets in our entity context, right? Similarly, if you have any other objects, right, you can see if you have a SP like store result, you can see it will be created as a virtual method here, right, which returns an object results of a result type. So whenever you are actually creating an entity model, right, this will be created, right? I mean, this method will be created with the name same as your store result, right? And whatever return, I mean, it will actually calculate, evaluate, I mean, what it actually returns, and whatever it can return will be that all the variables will be created in a separate class. Now you can see it returns everything of students. So that's the reason why you can see in this class you have everything. Right? That is how your SP is called. Now how I can actually call this? You can actually call it directly. Let me show you how. So I think I have to remove the static here and make this as a static. So here, let me skip this part. And then what I'm going to do, we have a DB context SP. You can see I have my in the store result where I can call it as a direct. I can actually call it as a direct method. But basically, what I'm doing, I'm actually calling the stored result of my database. Now, this is an advantage of entity framework we have. So here you have to give the roll number and name. Now, anyways, you can see the roll number and name, right? We are not considering it, right? If you can see here, so that's the reason why you can actually go ahead and give anything. So let's say you have roll numbers of 3 and name something. So let's say you have a roll number something, right? Now here you can see this returns some object result, right? And that object result is a collection set of the result set of your SP. Now for that I can take a var variable. We know that var is a variable type which can hold any object. Let me call it as result. Now we know that result set is going to be a collection item of SP get student details underscore result. So let's move on that. For each item that we take this result over here. Now we can actually move to this result. Let me write a console.py. let's say item dot. Now you can see, right, your item, each item which is a result set, right, which is a stored result underscore result, right, you get everything. Let's string the student name. Student name is what, let's say, right, and then you have, sorry, let's run this program, let's see. Now you can see we can get all the details. Right. So this is how you can actually call any ST graph. And this is about the stored readiness, and with this approach of code quality, the experience we are done. Once you start entry framework for your this assignment, right? Then what happens is you actually see how easy is to get data from connected tables using your entity framework, right? And the details you'll get. Now, for the retrieval part when it comes, right? When we are learning a LINQ, then you feel how it is easy to get the data, right? Without hitting database multiple times, how you can actually get complete data once and churn out our data set in multiple ways through your LINQ. Right? That's what I want to do. So that's the reason why the same assignment you can actually repeat it for 3 different areas. One area you can continue with radio, one with the entity framework, and then the result part when you're working you can actually make it more efficient using your LINQ. Right? We have this I enumerable of in. Right? So initially what we did, we took an array, a simple array, right, and we looped it. Using for each loop, we loop it. But we know that once you loop for each, you have to go to each and every item, and then we are checking item will return 0, right, and then we are actually doing this part. But using LINQ, using simple LINQ, first what we did, we use a simple query pattern, right, which is a simple query pattern, and right, and then we got a result. Now this is how normally we use. Now this is something which is we call as a transformation way. Now how does it work? Now we have a collection which is ARR, right, which we have taken here. Dot. Now we have an internal method called where. This is the first transformation method which you are getting for your collection or your array. Now this will return you an I enumeration, and we are giving a predicate. Now what is a predicate? A predicate is nothing but you are actually giving a condition, right, that on what condition I want to select my items. Now that predicate goes in this way. We are actually making a variable for this. Now we normally make for each for each item in this, right, which means every time loop runs it will give one value to this item and your loop continues. Same way, what I mean, I'm actually making this item here as n. For each n where n is greater than or equal to 100, completes the predicate. And also if you want to increase this, I can increase this by any number. Let's say n is less than some 5,000, let's say. Right? Now what I'm doing, I'm taking where n is greater than 100 and n is less than 100. This complete thing is a condition. And this complete statement or this complete entity whatever we have written is called as a predicate in giving n. Same way, whatever where it tells you I enumeration. So from this I enumeration what you get? You get all the n's which are greater than 100 and less than 5,000. Now among all them what I want to do, I want to select each and every item. That's what I am using select here. Right? So out of them we are actually using. Now this will give you all the values. Now if you run this, right, you will see items which are maybe you are getting all, right? Maybe you can say less than 4,000, then you will get some more figure. Now you can see the ones which are greater than 4,000, greater than 4,000 at least got removed. So this is one type of transformation. Right? Let me show you one more way of transformation. Yeah, you can write n. Yes, you can write n. Actually, here, if you want to write n, yes, you can go ahead. But this n is not same as this. Right? The scope of this n ends here. When you start with your separate transformation again, then this your n is something else. You can do any variable here. Like I just say some tree. Yes, you can give this. A tree, you are asking for our tree. That's fine. I mean, you are just mentioning some variable here. Right? It can be anything. Right? You can have the same variable used. Yeah, you can use that. So now, let's go to the next way how we can actually get. Now we know that we are actually getting the set as an enumerable, right? And we are actually using where. So let's use something called enumerable class. And we can use where condition here. Now here you can see there are two arguments which you have to provide. One, the set from where you want to get, and then here is a predicate you want to get. Now I can use same predicate where n is, let's say, greater than or equal to 100. And then select the values k and the k and the local values. Either way it work. On this, you will see all the items which are greater than or equal to 100. And where I am actually using my n. Now what I am doing, I am in enumerable, I am actually going using a transformation method called where. I am getting all and then select. Now we have one more way where you can directly select and provide the value inside. Let's say you have enumerable. Now if you are clear with LINQ that you can actually go with any type of condition. Now here you can see I have enumerable select. Now what to select? Now here inside this I can write my enumerable dot where, right, I can write the condition. So here I have n. Sorry. I have my n where n is greater than or equal to 100. Will give me value, right? Come on, and I have to get the result, right? Now this is something which is the set I'm providing, and I have to give predicate now. I can give predicate again as k lambda k, or if you want, you can also use n lambda. Right? You are giving the set here, and then you are actually providing your actual data. Now, when you are using enumerable, then again you have to give the set, actual set ARR. That's why it's giving the actual set is ARR, and from ARR you are actually applying a where transformation, where method, where condition, where you have to get only data which is either 100, and then map your set. Right? We get the same result. Now this is about different ways how we can actually use a LINQ, but you can see that this is something which is in one shot doing so many operations on your collection items. Now you can understand that how useful the LINQ can be, right? Because we'll actually start with the main topics of LINQ in tomorrow's class, and maybe it will take 1 or 2 classes to complete LINQ anyways, right? We'll see more and more. We have more tricky things which we can do here, right? Using LINQ. We'll also create an entity here. Yeah, you can use anything. Anything. If you are clear with anything, that you can actually use that, because the transformation methods are mapped to enumerable class, or directly to your collection items, or directly to your enumerations. IEnumerables and all. Right? It works. Fine. So let's wind up till here, and we'll meet in tomorrow's class, and we'll see more things on.